start the recording. All right. So we guys can put it over here also. Right. So now in the last class we were talking about the if else conditions, switch cases, and we started discussing about the loops, right? So now in today's session we will discuss about loops, how do they work, and what are the different keywords and statements we can use within the loops, right? Now, when I talk about the loops, one thing that comes into like our understanding is that loop is a block of code which will repeat multiple times, right? Which will repeat multiple times. So when I say multiple times means you have to run that statement n number of time. Maybe it's a calculation, counting of a number. Maybe it is like you are counting some values. Okay, so it depends on the need of the code, the requirement of the code, that how are you going to execute it, right? How are you going to execute it? So there can be two types of loops, right? There can be two type of loops. One is a fixed loop, the another one is the variable loop. In the first one, I may not be aware how many times, if it is a variable loop, we may not be aware how many times the loop is going to execute. It can execute according to the client's requirement. So if the client says yes, I want to execute it again, right? So you will run it. For example, if you take a simplest example, I hope everyone would have seen a ATM machine, right, where you insert your credit card or debit card and you can withdraw the money. Now in this case, in the ATM machine, when some user walks into the ATM machine, right, he goes and uh, inserts the card, right? So he insert card into the machine. So machine asks him pin, right? He enters a pin and then input money, whatever money you want to withdraw, right? And then takes the amount, gets the amount. Okay. Now after that, once he gets the amount, maybe he want to do one more transaction, right? He want to do one more transaction same with the same card, right? You want to do one more transaction with the same card. So in that case, what can we do over here is we are going to let the program ask, do you wish to do you wish to repeat transaction, right, or another transaction? So if yes, the program is going to take you to the right here, right? Because he have already entered up the pin, so the program is going to take him to the input money step. Okay. So if it is yes, right? If it is yes, if it is no, then it is going to take him to the stop option, right? It is going to take him to the stop option. So this way you can see now this block of code is going to run multiple number of times. It depends on the client's requirement, whether whether the user who is running that program wants to repeat it. If yes, right, he can press the Y button and that program will take him to the previous steps from where he wants to continue, or you may have programmed it accordingly, right? So similarly when I talk about this no, right? So in that case it is going to stop the program. So this is a variable loop, right? This is a variable loop. Now when I talk about something, you say fixed loop. So in the fixed loop, we know that n number of steps are going to execute, right? N number of steps are going to execute. So that will be n steps, right? Or n iterations. I'll call it as iterations. Fine. So this is called as iteration. Now, if you are going for n steps or iteration, means it would be a count. Like I have to run this loop 10 times, 10 iterations, right? Don't like run away from this word iteration. Iteration means when your loop is executing one time, right? That is one iteration. So now my loop is going to run 10 times. That means it is having a 10 iterations. Okay. So suppose you have to print, if I show the simplest example, right? Print 1 to 10. So for printing 1 to 10, I should not go and write system.out.println 1, system.out.println 2. This is not programming. Programming is that you have to write less and do more code. So system.out.println 3. This is not programming. Okay. The programming will be that I should start my program. I'll draw a flow chart, start the program, right? And I'm going to take a variable. So I'll say int x is equal to 1, right? I'll take a variable. And after that, I'm going to say print, right? Print x. I'm going to print x. Now, since we know how to write the conditions, I'll check if x is less than or equal to 10, right? If x is less than or equal to 10, so there will be two answers. Let's put it like this. So if it is no, if it is no, if it is no, so if x is less than or equal to 10, okay, I'll say that yes should come over here. Okay, so if it is yes, so if it is yes, we are going to send it back to the print, right? So here, I'll put one more step, x plus plus. Something missed over here. Let's do this. So here I'll say after printing, what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply, increment x by value of 1. So x will now become 2. It was 1, now it will become 2. After making it increment, we are going to check if x is less than equal to 10. So if it is no, right? If it is no, we are going to stop it. Okay. If x is less than equal to 10, no means it is now more than 10. So we are going to stop this program. And if it is not, so we are going to, if it is less than, yes, if it is less than 10, so that means we are going to print it again, right? So we are going to print it again. And if it is x is equal to x plus 1, then it would become 11. 11 is less than equal to 10. No, stop the program. Now see this program will go for 10 times, execution for 10 times. So when the program starts, it comes over here on this step, right? And then on next step, so it prints x. So the value of x will be printed on your screen. So it will print like value of 1. Suppose this is my screen, it will print 1. Okay. And after that, x is equal to x plus 1. X is equal to x plus 1. So when I say x is equal to x plus 1, now it is going to increment the value of x to 2, checking whether my condition is true or false. The condition is true. X is less than 10. True. So it will take me back to this step, print x. So now what is the value of x? 2. So it is going to print 2. Got it? So give me a quick yes or no if you have understood the concept of loops, how it is going to run again and again. Remember, your loops must have condition, right? Loops must have condition, else it will go out of the count, like it will go for the infinite loop, right? Kurman, whenever we talk about the loops means to repeat up set of statements. If I want to run my statement multiple number of times, I will not repeat it by writing multiple times, right? I will use the loops to run it multiple times, right? Let's go to the program. I think that will make you better understand it. We'll take a folder for today, a new folder, 2020 hyphen 10 hyphen, I think today is 16 or 17, 18. Oh, I'm running 2 days behind. Okay. So 2020 10 18, and we'll take a new file and let's call it as loops demo.java. We'll write a class over here, class loop demo. There are three different type of loops. Okay, if I talk about the syntax base, there are three different type of loop. First one is while loop, do while loop, and for loop. Okay, while loop, do while loop, and for loop. So if I look at my flow chart, so we started up with declaring a variable, right? So this variable is for counting purpose. Okay, so now let's take an example why this counting is required. If let's suppose I say that this step should be run only 10 times, right? This step should be run only 10 times. How will you count this 10, right? No one is sitting at before your computer when your program is going to run, right? Your program is only an instruction to the computer, not to the human being. Okay, so now your computer should have this variable. Now if I ask you to go and count, like let's say there are a group of students standing at some place, right? And there are a group of students standing at some place and I ask you to count them. So obviously you are going to like tell first student to stand uh, aside, right? And then you are going to count it one. You will ask other student to go to that group, so now you will increment it two, another student, then three, and then four, and so on. So this is your counting. So this thing can be assumed, like for computer you will say, okay, store a value, right? Now computer cannot keep the value one at the runtime and remember it. Sorry. So you have to tell computer to save that value, x is equal to 1, right? So now when the computer identifies the second object, it will be 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. So we have also put a condition, right? We also we have put condition. What is the condition over here? The condition is when the number of students are counted, right, and no more students are left out of the group, that means we have completed our counting. That is the condition. So same way here, I have to define a condition for computer. Remember, computer is doing up the programming, right? It's running up the programs. It is very fast. It is like very quick. But who is writing the program? It is you. As a programmer, you are writing up the program. Fine. So all these conditions, etc., have to be managed by you. You have to think about it. So if I tell you that you have to count or you have to run your program 10 times, so you need a counter variable, right? When I say you have to run the program 10 times, means you have to think that how is my program, how will I know that it is going to run 10 times? So whenever your program has to run 10 times, you have to pick up a variable, right? Int type variable started from x is equal to 1. Can you guys give me a minute, please? I have to put my microphone on mute. Okay. So now if I have to calculate that this is going to run 10 times, I have to start it with some value. Now, someone can ask me a question that should I always start from 1? No, it's okay. You started from 10 and reach till 20. That is also a value of 10, right? That is also 10 times. So if x is equal to 10, you increment x is equal to x plus 1. It becomes 11, 12, 13, and so on. You can write it x is equal to 500 to 510. I'm okay with that also. But will this be good, right? Will this be a good understanding? So instead of taking such any random number and going for next 10 steps, you can take int x is equal to 1, because sometimes this value may also have to be used in your program, right? Sometimes if someone writes a question, show first 10 numbers, right? So first show first 10 natural numbers. So we all know natural numbers start from 1 and they would be 1 to 10. So if I want to show this 1 to 10, I should not write system.out.println 1, system.out.println 2, system.out.println 3. This is not programming. As I said earlier, this is not programming. Instead of this, I will use my loops concept. So I'll take a variable x. X is equal to 1. Now I will display this x. I will display this x. When I say display, you can understand system.out.println. I will display this x till the time the value of x is not going to be 10. Okay. So display 1, right? And after that, you will check if x is greater than 10. If it is greater than 10, stop it, right? So now you see this time I'm using up a condition x is greater than 10. So it is up to you. How are you going to define your condition? Few people prefer writing up check x is less than 10, less than or equal to 10. One can write x is greater than 10. According to the programming requirement, you may have to set this condition, right? We don't have any personal choices in programming. We have a standard approach, right? Standard approaches are always going to help you. They are going to keep your code compact, right? If you just think of writing up simple programs, very simple programs, so they are going to extend up your code, right? They would be like a lot of extra code would be written. But if you follow the standard approach, like I go with the variables, I go with the loops, so that would be easy for you to code, right? Let's come to the practical part, how to write this loop in our program. So loop demo, I will write a main method public static void main string arguments. Okay. Now inside this, I have to print, let's write print 1 to 10. I want to print first 10 numbers. So if I have to print first 10 numbers, means I have to store the value. I have to store the value in memory for some time. That I'm starting from 1. This was my previous value. The new value will be plus 1. The new value will be plus 1 in the previous value. New value will be plus 1 in the previous value. So therefore, I have to store some value in my memory, in my computer memory. So I'll start from 1. Int x is equal to 1. Okay. You can start from 0. You can start from 1. If you are starting from 0, you show the incremented value. So it should print from 1. All right. So now if int x is equal to 1, I can print it system.out.println x. What will be the output of this program? Will it print 1 to 10? Give me a quick reply. Will it print 1 to 10? No, it's only going to print 1 because it's a single statement. It's only going to print 1, right? Now, if it is printing 1, let me check what this red icon is coming on the screen. Right. So if it is printing only 1, how will I bring those 2 to 9? So here I can use the loop. I can write a loop while x is less than equal to 10. Okay. So I will put my statement in this block while x is less than equal to 10. Okay, so what is happening over here? This int x is equal to 1 is one-time execution. It will create a variable, right? A variable is created. Just confirm, guys, if you can see the uh, lines being drawn on my screen. Can you see these lines, blue color lines? So I can explain it on the screen in a very well way. Okay, so now here I have declared a variable, right? Declare initial value. You can call it as declare initial value because this is the value in which I'm going to increment every time. Fine. Now this is my loop body, right? This is the loop body. So inside this loop body, you can write up the statement and all these statements are going to run multiple times, right? These statements are going to run multiple times. So the body of the loop starts from here, right? Loop body starts, and this way loop body ends. So anything written inside this loop body will run multiple times, right? So the number of times depend on your condition. Number of iteration, right, depends on condition. So what is the condition? Condition says x is less than equal to 10. What is the current value of x? Current value of x is equal to 1. I hope everyone can see whatever I'm writing on my screen. X is equal to 1, x is less than equal to 10. Give me a quick confirmation, yes or no. Everyone can see this? X is equal to 1 and x is less than equal to 10. Good, good. So now x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1, right? And x is less than equal to 10. This is my condition. Okay, this is my condition and this is my initial value. If I look at this program, x is equal to 1, x is less than equal to 10. What is the condition? It says true, right? It says true. So if it is true, it is going to execute your body, right? So when is loop body going to execute? Loop body executes if condition is true, right? If condition is true. So if the condition is true, loop body will execute. That means on my screen, on my output, right, it's going to print a value system.out.println x. What is the value of x? 1. So here it will print 1. After printing x, it doesn't exit, right? It doesn't exit. So it is going to go back to the start of your statement. It is going to go back to the start of the loop. It will again go back to the start of loop, right? And it will again start reading up all the instructions. It will check the condition once again and will start running up your instructions. So when it goes back to the instructions, it will again check x is less than equal to 10. What is the value of x? It is still 1. So that means condition is still true. So it is going to print 1 again, right? But this is not the output we want. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is going to be a 1, 1, 1 infinite loop. Now, why it is going to be infinite loop? Because our condition depends on x, that x is less than equal to 10. I want to run my loop only when x is less than equal to 10. So loop will exit when the value of x becomes 11. But since we are not changing the value of x, so this is going to be an infinite loop, right? So now what we'll do, we'll make a small change here. We'll say after printing the first value, x is equal to x plus 1, right? So I'm writing up a statement that x plus 1. So x plus 1, what is the value of x? 1. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. So put the value of 2 inside your x variable. Put the value of 2 inside your x variable, right? So now what is x variable? It has become 2, right? Now x variable has become 2. So now when it goes back to the while loop, and checks the condition, it will be checking, is 2 less than 10? Yes, true. If it is true, it will print x once again. So it will be now 2 being printed, right? And after that, x is equal to 2 plus 1. Now what is the new value of x? It is now 3, right? So 3 is less than equal to 10. So now the condition will be 3 is less than equal to 10. Condition is true. It prints 3 and x is equal to 3 plus 1. So now it becomes 4. So it will check 4 is less than 10. True. So now it will print 4. But then it will also do this thing. X is equal to x plus 1. So x is equal to 4 plus 1. That becomes 5. So this way it will be running up till 9. 9 plus 1, that is x, right? So new value will be 10. So it will check 10 is less than equal to 10. We have put a less than equal to. So 10 is less than equal to 10. Yes. So it makes it print 10. It prints 10, right? And after that, in the background, it is going to increment the value of x. So it becomes x is equal to 10 plus 1. Now, here comes the exit point. 10 plus 1, that makes it 11. So x is equal to 11 now, right? And if I put the condition, loop is again going to check x less than equal to 10. So since x is 11, will this be true or false? Sure, Alok, I'll come to it. Infinite loop. x is less than equal to 10. So now the condition is false, right? If the condition is false, it won't run this thing anymore. Okay. Let's run it practically, see the concept of infinite loop, and then we will move ahead. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to remove that increment value of x. Now, what is the value of x? It is 1 and it remains 1 because we are not changing it, right? So how about running this code? So if we go and run this code, okay, I have a terminal here. So let's go to the CD trainings Java batch 10, 2020 and 18. So Java C. Now I'm going to compile my program. So here we'll give the class name as file name Java C loop demo.java. So program is good. It's compiling it successfully. And if I want to run this, now see, it is printing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Can you see? It's printing up regularly 1. That was Control C. When I pressed Control C, when you go into an infinite loop, you would have to press Control C, Control and C key from your keyboard. Keep the Control key pressed and C key along with it. So that will exit your program, exit your execution. So now see, this program was printing 1 every time because it didn't got a exit, right? It didn't got an exit. The condition never went false. The condition never went false. So how it executed? It started from this statement, x is equal to 1, right? Came over here. So now while x is 10, so it is true, right? First time it is true, prints this value. After this, it is again going to come to this condition, right? On every iteration, after every iteration means executing the block of your loop body, right? So after every iteration, execution checks loop condition, right? Loop condition. If true, runs another iteration, right? So after every iteration, execution checks the loop condition. If it is true, it runs another iteration, else exit. But now in this case, our exit will never happen, right? If exit never happens, that means it will be stuck into the execution of the loop body again and again and again. So that becomes an infinite loop. Got it, Alok? Good. Anyone else doubt with this infinite loop? So infinite loop is nothing when your loop body doesn't exits, right? Your loop doesn't exits. It goes into the infinite loop. Okay, there is no exit point. So the exit will only be done when your memory is consumed, when your Java is getting overloaded with the memory. Maybe then it can stop the program. Else, it doesn't has any exit point. Okay, so here I'm going to say I don't want an infinite loop. I want to print till 10. This is the condition I have given. But to make this condition false, you should increase the value of x. Else x will remain 1, and therefore it will always be 1 less than 10, right? So it will print 1 1 1. And if I go and say x is equal to x plus 1, so now see the instruction. First print the value of x, then increase the value of x by 1, right? Increase the value of x by 1. Now what is the new value? The new value will be 2. Okay, so it comes back and checks whether the 2 is less than equal to 10. We know that 2 is less than 10, but computer has to verify it, right? 2 less than 10, yes, it is true. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to print it again, right? Print it again and increment the value of x, so it becomes 3. 3 is less than 10, true. So print it again. So it's going to print 1, then 2, then 3, right? Now incremented value becomes 4. 4 is less than equal to 10. true. So it is going to print 4. So it will check the value of x, and if that value of x satisfies the condition, it will do execute all these statements. Any doubts? Let's execute this correct loop now. So we'll compile our program again after the change. Oops. I think I have not saved it. Sorry. We have to save the program on every change, compile and run. Now you see the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So this way you can execute the loop to run statements multiple times. Got it? Yes. We can write the x is equal to x plus 1 before the statement. Now here, very good question. If I write it at this point, see the change in the output, because it will increment your value first. And you are going to see 2 to 11. Okay. Because before printing, if you change the value of x, that is why I told we have to store it. So we are picking from that storage only, right? So x is equal to x plus 1. Now you are not going to get that one value. So what you can do, you can start it from 0. Okay, try starting it from 0. See what is the output now. So it is 1 to 11, right? So next changes what we can make is that my condition is less than 10, right? So when you are going, this thing is not wrong, right? This approach is not wrong, but according to the requirement, it may vary, right? In some projects, maybe you have to write this x is equal to x plus 1 earlier, because you may have to use the updated value. Okay, so there we may have to go and use it as x is equal to 0. Sometimes we may have to write this value as x is equal to 1, and we may have to use up the like previous value in my program multiple places. Okay, here we have only one or two statements, but when you like increase up the number of statement, a lot of work has to be done inside the loops. Then this can vary where to print the statement, whether before increment, after increment, right? The story is we should understand that yes, I have to increment the value to come out of the loop, else my loop will go infinite. Any doubts in this? Right. Alok is good. Gurman should be good. Jocelyn, new member has joined for our class. Kaushik, I hope Kaushik, you may have watched up the previous recording. So go through it. In case if you find any doubts, you can drop a message in our Telegram channel. We all will try to help you. And in case if you are good with all those stuff, try to help other members. Great. So now we understood up the first type of loop, that is while loop, right? See, there is no first type of loop or second type of loop. They are all like at the same level: while, for, do while. We have three types of loop: while, do while, and for loop, right? So this is a while loop. This is while loop. I can do the same work with the help of do while loop. Okay, there is a small difference between while and do while. Do while doesn't matches your condition first. Here, when you are going to run this loop, it is going to check the value first time also. So first it will check. Now in this case, if just confirm me, if I have a value like 11, what it is it going to print anything? Will this program print any output? What about others? Alok, will this program print anything? No, this is not going to print anything, because when it comes to check the condition, right? When it comes to check the condition is false. The condition is false. Let me remove this status bar from here. Yes. So now if I talk about this value, x is equal to 11, and I try to check it. So what it is going to give the output over here for this condition, x value is 11, x is equal to 11, right? And 11 is less than equal to 10. Is it true or false? It is false. So since it is false, right, it is false, it will not get into the body of loop. So you won't have anything printed on your screen. It will be blank, right? On the other side, we have a do while loop, right? Do while loop, which execute once and it checks the condition, right? Or value of your variable after first iteration, after the iteration. Okay. So the syntax for do while loop is do, start the body, end the body, right? All your instructions in the do while body, and then write the while, complete up your syntax while, conditional statement, and a semicolon. So this is the syntax. See the difference between the syntax. While is checking the condition first before your first iteration. Do while is allowing you to run this one iteration at least, execute this one iteration, and then check your condition. Okay. So do while uh, is used in the places where I want to run at least one time, at least one time. Okay. So maybe we are not going to check the number of the conditions. I'll say, okay, it should execute at least once. No matter what is your maximum value or minimum value, it should execute at least once. So in that case, we go and use do while loop, right? Let me show you an example of do while loop with the same type of code. We'll try to print 1 to 10. Now you may be thinking, I'm not teaching you any like advanced pattern printing and all, because I don't know what is the level of all the students who have subscribed to our channel, right? So we'll keep it very basic first, and we'll also see writing up the nested loops, printing up few patterns, right? Like printing up a triangle and all with the using the loops, right? So here I'll write my do while loop. So I'll take one more variable, int x is equal to 10. Okay. And let's write up a do while loop. So do body start ends and write the condition while x is less than 10. Now, if anyone looks at the condition is false. X is less than 10 because x value is 10. 10 is never less than 10. 10 is equal to 10, right? So according to that, my condition is false over here. Let's go over here and say system dot out dot print line. So I'll print the value of x. I'm going to print the value of x. Okay. System dot out dot print line x. X value is being printed. You increment this x value, x is equal to x plus 1. But if you look at this condition, will it be true or false? X was 10. If it executes, I'm saying if this executes, the value of x becomes 11. 11 is less than 10. No, it is false. It won't reiterate it, right? It won't reiterate it. So this is only the first execution. Even if you see, I put it like 100, which is greater than 10, right? So condition is still false. So do while loop doesn't checks the first condition, right? It doesn't checks the condition first. It executes your iteration once. Minimum of one will be executed, right? Minimum of one iteration will be executed. And then it is going to run, check your condition. And then it will see, okay, condition is true. Let me reiterate it. Let me run the other iteration also. Okay. So if we go over here and execute it, so I'll compile my Java C loop demo. Java loop demo. So you see, it's printing up the value 100. It's printing up the value 100. Why it's printing 100 only? because it is executing first time, right? It's running first time. It's running first time. Okay. And when it's running first time, I am printing the value of X. Is it running more than once? No. Even your value is out of that condition, right? It is turning your condition false, but then also it is not running next time, right? It's false. It is not running next time. It is running at least once because not checking the condition. Do while is not checking the condition before first iteration. That is a major difference between while and do while. So if you guys are in college or in a school and have Java as a subject, so this is the difference for while and do while. That while checks the condition beforehand, run even before the first iteration. Do while doesn't check the condition first. It checks the condition post iteration, right? Post execution. So here once it will execute the first iteration, then checks the condition. So now this depends whether it will run it second time or not. If the condition is false, it will not run it. If the condition is true, it will run it, right? So suppose if I give the value 1, let's try to print this. I'll compile the program and run it. So you see the output is 1 to 9. Okay, we are getting this 1 to 9 now. Any doubts up till here? Any questions? I think few members got disconnected. Maybe they have some other class or some network issue. But anyways, they will watch the recording. Good. So now we have one more type of loop which can make your code very clean. I really love working on that loop. I rarely use my do while. I customize my third type of loop, that is a for loop, because it gives me very clean code. Okay, now what is that third type of loop? If you remember, I'll just copy this code of while and I will transform it to for loop. So we had a variable declaration, we had a condition, and we have an increment value, and to be printing this. So now I'm going to say, give me a for loop. Right, write a for loop. So for loop is going to take three arguments, three values, right? Three things over here. The first one is your variable declaration. Int x is equal to 11. Okay. Second one is your condition. Third thing is your post execution steps, right? Post execution, post iteration steps. It is very organized loop, right? It is very organized loop. And then the body. And you get this here. Very clean code. So now int x is equal to 11, x is less than equal to 10, that is my condition, and x is equal to x plus 1, right? So three parameters separated by two semicolons. This is my for loop. Okay. So here inside the body, I'm going to print x. Now how the execution works over here? Now execution in this case is going to start from, obviously, from your initialization. This is the initialization. This is going to run only once, right? It is only going to run once, initialization. So it takes the value as x is equal to 11. Okay. And then it jumps into next step. I hope you can see the lines, etc., drawn on my screen. So x is less than equal to 10. So it goes on to this statement, right? So this is the first step to execute, then jumps over here, second step. So it checks whether it is true or false. It is true, right? It is true or false. So right now it is false. If I just remove this 1, so this will be, let's clean it up. I should take it as 1. Okay. So now x is equal to 1. This is my first step, right? First step. From here, it is going to jump to the condition, check the condition, whether it is a valid one. Should I run the body of this loop? So x is equal to 1, x is less than equal to 0. Yes, I want to run it. It is true. If true, right? If true. So it will run your third step, that is execute the whole body. Okay. And after you are completing of the body, it's going to go to the this one. That is your fourth step, right? So it increments the value of x. So x was 1, condition was true, it printed up x on the screen. So now in the fourth step, x became 2. From here, it is going to jump to the step number 2. So fifth step is go to step 2. Okay. So step 1 is step 1, initialize, right? Step 2, check condition, right? Step 3, then we have to execute body if 2 is true. If 2 is true, then execute the body, else exit. Okay. And step 4 is that post execution statement. That is the third parameter. Execute the third parameter, we can say. Okay. And step 5 is go to step 2. So this is how your for loop is going to run. Very organized. It has its own placeholders for increment, for initialization, for the condition, right? And that everything comes inside the body of for loop. Okay. And then you can execute the system.out.print statement or any other statement inside your code. Okay. So now if we run this, we'll get the output same as how we were getting it inside the while loop. So they are just different type of loops to do the same work. You can achieve the same work with different type of loops, 1 to 10. Right. And if you noticed, these all loops are going to run n number of times. That is, we know that how many number of times they are going to run. They are going to run 10 number of times, 20 number of times. Here we have not yet put it in the form of user interaction, that do you wish to continue? Okay. So now I will write up some statement here which will use some Java classes, right, to take the input. So don't get confused. I'll explain those Java statements later also. For demonstrating my variable loop, I'm going to use the scanner class to take the input from the user. So here we say, let's take up a character variable. Right now we have understood the syntax of while, for, and do while. All we need to do is we need to put some logic to check the character input. So I'll say, let's take a char variable, char ch is equal to yes, right? That means I'm going to run this loop. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to put while ch is equal to y. I'm going to say while ch is equal to y, then I'm going to run this statement, system.out.println. Let's write up some output. You selected to run the loop. Okay, you selected to run the loop. So now if I run this code, it's going to be an infinite loop because the ch value will never change. It's going to remain y. We have to ask the user. You selected to run the loop. I will give him another statement. System.out.println. Do you wish to run once again? Right. Enter y or n. So I want an input from you. Right. I want an input from you. So now here the user is going to enter the input, right? User is going to enter the input. So to take the input, I need a scanner class, right? A scanner class is required to take the input from the user. Scanner is equal to new scanner. For those who do not know the scanner class, don't worry, we will discuss it in the next session, right? And don't much bother about this, that how to take the input. So scanner is equal to new scanner. So I can use this scanner class and take the input and save it inside my ch. So scanner dot next line dot char at 0. So I'm reading it as a string, right? I'm reading it as a string, and then I am taking the first character of it, right? Reading it as a string and taking the first character. So now we have system.out.println. You selected to run the loop. Do you wish to run once again? If he enters yes or no, it will again go back to ch. If he entered any other character except then y, if he enters any other character, that will be a false, and it will make the condition false and will not run anymore, right? So save this. Let's compile this program. If everything is good, it will run my loop. Okay, we got an error. The error is that I have not imported my scanner class, java.util.scanner. This is how you import the class. So java.util is a package. Inside that we have the scanner class that is provided by Java. We have used it. As I said, a lot of things we'll discuss about Java scanner class in next session. Java C loop demo, Java loop demo. So it says you selected to run the loop. Now this executed because by default I have set y. By default I have set y, right? So that's why it's running first time. Do you wish to run once again? Enter y or no. So if I say y, so it says you selected to run the loop again. So till the time I'm going to press y, it will be running it again and again and again. If I press n, it will say, it will not say anything. It will stop it because as soon as you entered n, right, it goes to this. Since it is now not y, it is not going to run it anymore. Everyone is good with this? So I have displayed how to use the loops, right? I will send you few of the programs to practice while, do while, and for loop, right? I will also send you some solved examples, right? Solved examples. I have shared a link that how to install Java on Ubuntu. Same way you can download it for Windows and you can just run your executable. It will get it installed, right? In case if anyone finds problem, can drop me a message on Telegram. And here we are going to end the session for today, but I would like you guys, all those who are available right now, can rate today's session. We'll put a practice of this thing, right? Since this session is free for all, I do not want to like downgrade the quality of this session, right? I want to keep it at best. So I want you guys to rate it at least. So at the end of the session, like in the chat section, you can out of 5, you can give me like 1 is least, it was not good, 5 it was excellent. So from 1 to 5 you can rate the session, that how this session was, right? So you guys can rate it now and we can close the session over here. So that's all for today's class. We'll meet in the next session. I'll upload this recording on our YouTube channel and share the link in the Telegram, right? Most welcome everyone. Thank you for your time, and please rate this session. You can drop a message in the chat itself. No problem. If you do not understand anything, you write 1. I will try to work with like more and help you understand up Java. If you find it is very good, it is worth attending, so drop a 5. I'm waiting for your rating, guys, in the chat. Here itself, you can drop it in this chat itself. I think you are sharing it. So Gurman was not able to understand anything. No problem. I'll work with you, Gurman. How about others? Jocelyn? No problem. As I said, scanner is something new for you. Forget it. It was just a demonstration for you guys. On the scanner, we'll discuss in the next class how to take the input from the user, right? And how about HP? Looks like your computer name. No worries, Gurman. No worries. We'll work on this because you are very new to this Java thing, programming thing itself, right? I'll share more details with you. All right. So, okay, we can close it over here for the day and let's meet in the next session, right? Thank you. Bye.